Aloha everybody, Kaiwaza with you. Welcome back to my channel and our continuing journey through my Hawaiian record collection. 2,500 or something like that. I don't know the exact count Hawaiian records. And we're going through them one at a time, just showing them to you and talking a little bit about each one. And today we start a new letter, which is the letter M. Very exciting. We're getting down to the wire, only like, I don't know, 6 or 7 letters left or something. So letter M starts today. And first up, a group called the MacKenzie Serenaders. Now this is a 10-inch LP. The MacKenzie Serenaders is somewhat of a special group actually because it's like a product or a promotional group or whatever for MacKenzie Tour Company, which operated in Hawaii in the 50s and 60s and I think into the 70s, I'm not exactly sure, but very popular tour company here. These are the MacKenzie Serenaders, featuring amongst its members Mr. Jimmie MacKenzie, who is a family. I don't know if he's actually the owner of MacKenzie Tours or was like a, you know, just a family member of the MacKenzies. But I am assuming this album was probably given to people when they booked their excursion tours with MacKenzie Tours. I'm assuming. I don't know that for a fact, but and this one is on red vinyl. Now later on, Mr. MacKenzie, Jimmie MacKenzie, did another album. He was known as the Mayor of Waikiki. Presents This Evening in Hawaii. This is a 12-inch LP. This is Mr. MacKenzie along with many famous, well-known recording artists in Hawaii at the time, singing together both solos and as groups, various songs of the islands on This Evening in Hawaii.
14 on the right, 14 on the left, take me to Hawaii, nay, look the best. A long time ago. Seen a new city to last a lifetime going away.
It's on his own MacKenzie label.
1 battle, 2 battle, 3 battle, 4 to take me home.
Now here's an artist who really was not well known in Hawaii, but achieved some fame on the mainland in the early part of the 20th century as an opera singer. Actually sang on the continent, the American continent, and in Europe and whatnot. But a Maui boy, Tandy McKenzie. This album was done way after the fact, sort of as a tribute to him, and he wasn't, you know, very well known here. So these are some of his early recordings, 1936. The Hawaiian songs on this recording are from the Dole Pineapple-sponsored radio broadcast Hollywood, California, 1936. And then the second side are operatic arias from his various performances in Los Angeles in the 1930s. And that is Mr. Tandy McKenzie. And this is put out by Island Heritage Records. Of course, these would have all been like the whatever shellacked old 10-inch singles or like original radio broadcast recordings. This album was put out in 1976, but of course the recordings are much older. Now we're up to an artist. Actually, it's a family. There were 3 brothers, the McIntire brothers. They didn't record together, but there was Dick McIntire, Al McIntire, Lani McIntire. Al McIntire I don't really know anything about, and I don't have any recordings by. Dick McIntire I only have 1 LP by. Now these guys were singers, musicians with different groups, but then they eventually had their own bands and were well known as band leaders, and they also worked in Hollywood films doing the music for a lot of the Hawaiian kind of films. Anyway, this is the only album I have from Dick McIntire, because these guys all worked like in the 30s and 40s, so these are like old, you know, older recordings. These would be reissues of very old material. I just recently got this actually from Japan. Dick McIntire and his Harmony Hawaiians Immortal Hawaiian Music Series Volume 2. Yeah, and it's on a Japanese label, Japanese MCA.
When you're down in Honolulu, on the tropics skies are blue, and they do the only, you want to only do. And when the moon comes over fully, way up there with you I'll be, and there in the moonlight.
Nice stuff. Next up, the one I have a lot of music from is Lani McIntire. Now, there's not a lot of biographical information out there about these McIntire brothers, because, you know, they were earlier artists, and they did, as I said, Hollywood work, and they Lani McIntire, I know, also performed at the Hawaiian Room in New York. Did lots of recordings, and actually his recordings were also picked up or recorded by some budget labels and were released under various names other than Lani McIntire. So his music is kind of hidden amongst other names. And I don't think we'll have time to show everything today, but I'll get started on it. The first exposure I had personally to Lani McIntire was this record here that I actually had as a kid. This is not the original copy I had, but this is the record. My first exposure to him, I had this as a kid. Song of Hawaii, Lani McIntire and his orchestra. Now this is on Harmony, which is a kind of like a reissue or budget label of Columbia. So they would like reissue stuff that had already been put out and give it like a second or third run and at a cheaper price. So.
The ladies dancing along the shore, and to you, sweetheart, I love you forevermore.
And you know, Lani McIntire was known sort of combining the sweet Hawaiian sounds and some traditional Hawaiian sounds with the big bandish, danceable kind of stuff. Now, as I said, this was my first exposure to Lani McIntire. Now, these two albums are actually, would have been the originals of this, and I guess when this was put out, they added a few more tracks on it. But these are 10-inch, older 10-inch records. Same album, basically, as the one I just showed you, Hawaiian Festival. Also called Hawaiian Festival, same album, different cover. Nice artwork. And now here, Hawaiian Moonlight. This is put up by Pickwick. Now this also is just sort of reissues of this earlier stuff put together on an album. Vocals, a few instrumentals on it. A couple of really nice instrumentals, actually. Yeah.
Beautiful carnation,
Nice art.
truly a sensation. Colors like rainbows aglow.
And now these next two I'll show you are actually exactly the same record as this. But I guess they're probably, well, they would be earlier. This would have been later, but earlier things. But they're not recorded under Lani McIntire's name. These are early budget labels. I love the budget labels. We Are Having a Holiday in Hawaii. Same record as this one. But it's billed to the Halo Hawaiians, which is the record label Halo. I love Halo records. They're like one of the most budget of the early budget labels. The most cheap. This is the back cover on all of their records. And it's even Ultraphonic, which was a related company. Ultraphonic, Allegro, Halo, I think like they all, Remington, they reissued a lot of the same stuff. I think they might have actually even been interconnected, you know, money-wise. Yeah, because the label's Ultraphonic. And then this one on Even Records by the Hawaiian Islanders is again the same record. It's Lani McIntire. Also budget label there. Even Records. Okay, I'm going to stop there. We got plenty more Lani McIntire to look at, but that's the beginning of it. Hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any of these records or any stories about them or Hawaiian music generally or whatever, please leave your comments below. It's great to hear from you, what your thoughts are. I bet some of you out there that have Hawaiian records have Lani McIntire music and you don't even know it. And we're going to discover more as we go along because it's not credited now. We'll talk to you in the next video. Have a good week.